Today, I'm replaying the entire career of Kylian Mbappe because at just 26 years old, he's already a World Cup winner and a French legend, and maybe one of the greatest of all time. However, no Champions League and no Ballon d'Or. These trophies were promised by his potential. And no, boys, what happened to Prime Mbappe? He's now at a 67 overall and sucks. Come on. But don't you worry, I'm now his agent and I'm trying to take Mbappe back to the top by winning multiple Champions Leagues and multiple Ballon d'Ors and making him the greatest of all time. So of course, Kylian Mbappe is now back at AS Monaco at just 16 years old and can play striker, but also left wing. But man, I do miss Prime Mbappe. 78 pace is best stat, but the rest of his stats are absolutely garbage. However, unlike in real life where Kylian Mbappe burst onto the scene for the Monaco first team, he is nowhere near being the best striker in the side and will not get any game time. So of course, we have to loan list him. And straight away, Mbappe receives his first offer, and it is from TSG Hoffenheim from the Bundesliga. That is a good offer, but I think they have good strikers like Kramaric that will not let Mbappe start. And a second offer has come in, and it is from Union Saint-Gilles. We know a lot of talents that came from the Belgian league, like Lukaku and Kevin De Bruyne. This might be the move, you know. I welcome Mbappe to my office and say, look, you've gotten a total of 3 offers, 1 from Belgium, 1 from Germany. You have also received an offer from the worst team in France. Which one will you take? Well, Hoffenheim and Royal are all good offers, but I really want to prove my talent to Monaco and go to the worst team in France and drag them to Ligue 1. So Mbappe's decision has been made. He is joining the worst club in Ligue 2, and that is AS Nancy for the next 2 years on loan. And just take a look at this side, man. This team has no chance of promoting to Ligue 1. If Mbappe really wants to impress not only Monaco but the whole world, he needs to drag this team to the very top. And if he wants to carry a team, he needs to improve these stats because simply they're not enough. So we're gonna go ahead and start him off with the poacher development plan to get him working on his shooting. But before we get to the end of the season, Mbappe has a mentor to guide him through his career, and that mentor is Titi Henry. Henry speaks with Mbappe and says, Kylian, I really respect you came to the worst team in France rather than staying in the top division in Europe. You will easily impress Monaco by the end of your loan, but more importantly, maybe some of the best clubs in Europe, and you could be starting for a super club in no time. So let's go ahead and find out how Mbappe does in his first year of pro football. But like I mentioned, I'm trying to make Mbappe the greatest of all time, so of course he needs to go ahead and win 5 Champions Leagues. He also has to go ahead and win 5 Ballon d'Ors, the same as Ronaldo once again. Not only that, but he has to try and win 10 Golden Boots in his career. The most of this past generation is Lionel Messi with 9, and probably the most impossible, try to win 3 different World Cups to tie Pele's record. That would make him the GOAT. And a +4 for Kylian Mbappe already now out of 71 overall. He's gonna be special. And 10 goals and 2 assists is exactly what he gets. That is a great first pro season. If he wants to become the GOAT, he needs to do so much better. And of course, with those 10 goals, he was never gonna win the Golden Boot. But hey, he has taken the worst league in Ligue 2 all the way to exact mid-table. That is a brilliant first season for Kylian Mbappe. But of course, he also wasn't in the team of the season. No, it was just his first pro year, but we need to start applying pressure. And 70 shooting in season number 2 is not too bad, but of course, we must continue to work on it. But this time, we're gonna give him the advance forward to also work on his skill moves and his sprint speed. But Titi Henry has welcomed Mbappe to his office and has set some goals for him. Kylian, you had a great first season, but you told me you want to become the GOAT. You need to step it up drastically. This season, I expect you not only to drag AS Nancy to at least the Ligue 2 playoffs, but you also must win your first Golden Boot. If not, there is no chance to become the GOAT. Kylian Mbappe then responds, I respect your goals and the pressure put on me. This is what I need if I want to become the greatest of all time. But guys, getting to the playoffs of Ligue 2 with this team and this formation is not bringing out the best of Kylian Mbappe. So I walk into the manager's office and let him know, look, Kylian Mbappe was your best player last season, and his last year here, we need to make sure we maximize his play style. I would like for you to change the formation to any formation with 1 striker and also give him penalties and free kicks. The manager then responds, you got it, man, you're right. Mbappe totally carried us last year. Unfortunately, we have no money to sign anybody, so hopefully Mbappe can do it on his own. So there we have it. We have changed the formation to a 4-1-4-1 where Mbappe is the lone striker and everybody behind him is some type of playmaker to create chances for him. But also, he has been given penalties and free kicks. He's surely on his way of winning the Golden Boot, but can he go ahead and take Nancy to the Ligue 1? And Mbappe has done it. AS Nancy in 3rd place, which means they were in the semis of the playoffs where they beat Angers. Now are in the final against Ligue 1 side Toulouse. And it is a 2-legged tie. Can Mbappe go ahead and take a good lead here? And no, it's a 2-1 loss as Goboko puts Toulouse 2 goals up. But 1 leg left to go. Can Mbappe step up when it really does matter? It's a 3-0 victory as Mbappe scores a double to send Nancy to Ligue 1. That's GOAT stuff right there. And it's a +4 for Kylian Mbappe now out of 76 overall. He is definitely putting his name up there to start for Monaco next season. And 29 goals and 38 appearances. What a year year for Kylian Mbappe. Did he win his first Golden Boot? Oh, he was robbed of the player of the season, but wasn't the team of the season. And yes, he has done it. He wins his first Golden Boot. 27 goals in 34 appearances. A long way to go to win more than Messi, though. And of course, at his overall, no chance he made the French squad. And wow, to kick off season number 3, Mbappe has received 2 offers. Now that he's back at AS Monaco. And the first offer he received is in La Liga with Real Betis, where he would play next to Anthony the GOAT. But the second offer is very interesting. It is from Fiorentina, who are in shambles in the Serie A in real life. But when it comes to AS Monaco, he is the 3rd best striker in the team, right behind Mika Biret and Pavlidis. However, what's interesting is that this Monaco side plays with 2 strikers, so he would be the 3rd choice. So I bring Kylian Mbappe to my office and ask, look, you're back at Monaco, you're gonna get a bit of game time, but I would prefer if you start every game. What do you want to do? Well, there are some good offers like Betis and Fiorentina. I do want to play for Monaco one day, so I'm not sure if I want to transfer away from them completely. So then I respond, how about one more loan deal to try and go ahead and explode once again? Hope one of the strikers leave or you become better. Mbappe says, you know what? Let's do it one more time. So Mbappe has decided to be loan listed one more time, most likely a 1-year loan. And let me tell you, things have just gotten interesting. Mbappe receives 2 offers, the first one being from Juventus. He's not gonna get any game time there, so we're gonna go ahead and reject it. But the second option is Olympique de Marseille, and I know what you're thinking. They are a better club than Monaco as of right now. But if you look at their striking options, they have New Mbappe at 75, they got Mumbanga at a 75, and Robinho Vaz at a 77. So there's only one person and one overall between them. He's gonna get a lot of game time at this club. So Kylian Mbappe has accepted an offer for a 1-year loan at Olympique Marseille. But not only that, with an option to buy of 50 mil. We know Mbappe wants to play for Monaco, but we don't know what's gonna happen at the end of the season. And Kiki is now a Marseille player where he'll be sitting on the bench. But trust me, Robinho Vaz does not have his place secured. And I can't lie, at just 18, Mbappe is already looking incredible. Normally, I would go for the passing or the dribbling, but we don't care about that. If he needs to become the GOAT, he needs to become one of the best strikers in world football. So once again, we're going for the poacher development plan. We're getting that shooting as high as possible. But like I mentioned, there is a settle to buy option around 50 million. I'm not sure if Mbappe is going to want to accept it. And so Titi Henry has a conversation with Mbappe and says, I'm really glad you chose to join Marseille. I know your dream is to play for Monaco, but sometimes things don't turn out like you want them to do. So just really consider on that buy option because you never know what can happen this season. But go ahead and try your best to compete for the Golden Boot this year. Mbappe says, my heart is at Monaco. I want to return with them next season. But like you said, you never know what can happen and things just don't work out. And boys, in his first year at Marseille, he is in a cup final against PSG. If Mbappe can win this is huge for his career. The upset of the century, and it's a 2-0 victory. As Mbappe is the reason they win it. Bro, come on, he's gonna be an all-timer. However, when it comes to the league, it was won by PSG by a huge margin, man. As AS Monaco finished 1 place below Marseille. It's a +4 for Kylian Mbappe, now at an 80 overall at just 19 years old. However, Robinho Vaz also reached an 80. This is gonna be some tough competition. But it seems like Mbappe has won this time 22 goals in 51 appearances. Did he win his second Golden Boot already? And no, he does not, as it's won by Dembele. And Mika Biret also scored the same amount of goals as him. Is he gonna start at Monaco if he goes back? And now in season 3, Titi Henry has a conversation with Mbappe and says, your loan is about to finish up. Do you want to stay here at Marseille? Which I think might be the best option for you right now, since Monaco have more talented strikers, but Marseille is still better. But before Mbappe can answer, Zerbi has pulled a power move to try and convince Mbappe to stay by signing his brother Ethan Mbappe to the same club on a permanent deal. Is Mbappe gonna want to stay now? So then Mbappe responds to Titi Henry, my brother just joined and I cannot lie. The opportunity to play with my best friend is hard to pass by. I think I'm gonna sign for Marseille. So Kylian Mbappe has decided to join Olympique Marseille on a permanent deal for 50 million. This is a huge move for his career considering he wanted to stay at Monaco. And if you guys have enjoyed this video so far, make sure to subscribe and comment down below if you want to see a Kylian Mbappe and Ethan Mbappe video together. So Kylian Mbappe is now at his permanent club here at Marseille alongside his brother Ethan Mbappe. And just a heads up, only at an 80 overall, Mbappe wasn't good enough for the Euros this summer. But I have a feeling this move to Marseille is about to change it all. So Mbappe has a chat with his brother and says, welcome my brother, we're finally playing for the same team. I look forward to sharing the pitch with you. Then responds, the Zerbi told me if I would join the club, it could help you convince you to stay. I easily took the opportunity, and to be honest, I wouldn't mind helping you on your journey to become the greatest of all time. So now that the brothers are reunited, it's time to continue working on Mbappe. His pace is phenomenal, his shooting is phenomenal, but it's not enough. So we're gonna go ahead and go for the advanced forward role again we're not gonna work on passing or dribbling till his shooting is at least a 90. So Titi Henry now speaks with Mbappe and says, now that you're willing to stay here at Marseille, I think before you leave, you need to somehow win the league title here. But first, let's focus on winning your first golden boot because you're a long way from dethroning PSG. Mbappe says, let's do it. I'm ready to dominate with Marseille. And it's another +3 for Kylian Mbappe, now at an 83 overall. He is slowly becoming world-class footballer. And it's the best season of his career, 24 goals and 48 appearances. I wonder if he got close to the golden boot this time. But before that, of course, PSG won the league title, but AS Monaco finished so many points ahead of Marseille. Did Mbappe make a mistake? And boys, Kylian Mbappe just missed out on the golden boot by 1 goal to Desiree Doué. In terms of goal scoring, he made the correct choice. Close to getting a second though. But so far, I'm proud of Kylian Mbappe. Look at his shooting and his pace. Surely at the next World Cup, he'll be chosen for France. And to kick off Season 5, Titi Henry is speaking to Kylian Mbappe. Alright Mbappe, you've had 2 seasons to bet into the Ligue 1. It's time you step it up massively. You need to win the Golden Boot or the Ligue 1 title this season, especially because the World Cup's at the end of the year. Not only do you need to go, but you need to help France win it all. Mbappe says, you are right. Since I missed the first one, I only have 3 World Cups left in my career. I need to make sure I win every single one. I need to be ready. So Kylian Mbappe needs to lock in, and I think he still can improve his shooting one last time. So for one final time, we're going for the poacher development plan. Then we can work in his passing, dribbling, and his physical. But boys, I'm gonna be honest, this team is not ready to win the Ligue 1. So I go ahead and speak to Roberto De Zerbi and say, Mbappe and his brother are ready to lock in. We need a brand new goalkeeper and a brand new 2 in midfield to push for that league title for you, sir. Roberto De Zerbi says, thank you, I respect you for being honest. I will bring in whoever I can. And Roberto De Zerbi has held up on his promise by bringing in promising wonder kid in Bouadi, another promising wonder kid in Mayulu, and a 3rd French wonder kid in 85 overall, Giovanni Retzes. And now take a look at this team. The 2 double pivots may be low overall, but they do have potential of upwards of 85, I believe. And Retzes is literally the future of France in goal. If they don't win the league this season, they will be huge favorites for sure in the upcoming season. But sadly, the signings weren't enough as Marseille finished in 2nd with 87 points, the closest they've ever been. But it's another Coupe de France trophy for Kylian Mbappe. They're upsetting PSG, just not in the league, man. And he is now an 87 overall, one of the world's best strikers. And his brother's not doing too bad for himself, now at an 86. And this is Mbappe's best every year, 30 goals and 2 assists. Did he go ahead and disappoint Titi and not win the Golden Boot at least? And yes, he has done it. By 1 goal, he beats the tough Kavica Kvaratskhelia. He gets his 2nd Golden Boot. This must mean he is going to the World Cup. This is France group at the World Cup as Mbappe has been selected, but is also leading the line despite Hugo Ekitike being 1 overall better than he is. But just take a look at this French team. There is no way Mbappe doesn't win his first World Cup. And remember, if he wants to win out 3, he needs to win this one. And when it came to the group stages, they went absolutely perfect. 3 wins out of 3. In the round of 16, they beat Mexico. In the quarterfinals, they beat Croatia. And in the semis, they beat Italy. That means in the final, they'll be facing England. Mbappe hasn't won much in his career, but this could be his first huge and major trophy, and it's a 3-1 victory as he fails to score a goal, but regardless wins his first World Cup. And sadly, he does not win the Golden Boot. This would have counted towards his total. To kick off season number 6, let's just say super clubs are interested in Mbappe. The first offer that has come in is from Atletico de Madrid, but he also received an offer from Juventus. I go ahead and bring Mbappe to my office and say, look, you've been here at Marseille for 3 seasons. You're one of the world's best. Would you like to leave the club? Well, unfortunately, I haven't won the Ligue 1 here at Marseille. I would still like to. However, if a good offer comes in, not only for me, but for my brother, I am willing to accept. So the question is, would Juventus or Atletico de Madrid also sign Ethan Mbappe? And it looks like one team was ready to sign them both, as Kylian Mbappe is now joining Juventus, the old lady. Interestingly, his idol Ronaldo also played there. I wonder how he's gonna do in the Serie A, as Ethan Mbappe also joins Juventus. And boys, oh my days, take a look at this team. This is one of the best teams in world football. We're not talking about league titles. This team could compete with the Champions League. And Titi Henry has a conversation with Mbappe and says, Mbappe, I am very glad you have joined Juventus. This is the perfect move for your career, a super club. And this team has been built well by Spalletti. Kylian Mbappe says thank you, but fortunately this team is in the Europa League this year. So what are my goals this season? Let's keep it simple. Win the Serie A, win the Europa League, and maybe even the Golden Boot. So already in his first year here at Juventus, he has high expectations, but take a look at his stats. 93 pace, 92 shooting. It's finally time to work on something else. And I want to work on his dribbling, so let's give him the target forward role. And Mbappe is now at a 90 overall, a +3 this season. One of the world's best at just 22. But 30 goals and 2 assists in the Serie A is absolutely incredible. But no, he somehow missed out on the Golden Boot to Vlahovic by 3 goals, man. Come on. on. Yes, Mbappe has won the Serie A title with Juventus. He also won the Supercoppa d'Italia. And he won the Coppa Italia itself as well on penalties. And he has also won the Europa League, 4 trophies in 1 season. And to kick off season number 7, TT talks to Mbappe. Kylian, it was a great first season here in the Serie A, but I'm sorry. You need to step it up times 100. If you ever want to become the GOAT this season, you have to win a Champions League and a Ballon d'Or with Juventus. Sounds impossible, but that's the levels you need to be hitting this year. Mbappe says, no, I completely understand the pressure. You're right. This has to be my year that I show myself that I'm the world's best. And to be honest, there should be no more excuses. He has a brilliant front three, a brilliant midfield, and a brilliant defense. This UCL and Ballon d'Or has to be his this year. But just a reminder, there is a Euros in the summer, so maybe that can help him out as well. But of course, in terms of development plan, we've basically maxed out his finishing. Let's go ahead and work on his passing with the false 9 role. And back-to-back Serie A titles for Kylian Mbappe and Juventus. He also wins back-to-back Super Cups, but just fails to win the Coppa Italia. No treble if he wins the Champions League. In his first UCL campaign, they finished in 9th place in the playoff spot, man. But in the playoffs, they did beat Galatasaray 6-2. In the round of 16, smash Barca 4-0. In the quarters, they beat PSG 5-1. And in the semis, they beat Roma 6-3. Which means in the final, they're facing Borussia Dortmund. But we are looking like the favorites as Ethan Mbappe has locked in with 11 goals in the UCL. But Kylian himself has 9 and Dortmund, Fabio Silva, has 8. And here are some of the stats of the rest of the players. Someone like Mikey Moore, Conrad Harder, Chukwuemeka, and Fede Valverde are going to be difficult. Sadly, no Serie A golden boot for Kylian. But can Kylian Mbappe step up and win his first ever Champions League with a full back line injured? That's ridiculous, man. Can he go ahead and do it still? And it's a 2-1 victory as Yildiz and Ethan get the goals to win Mbappe's first UCL. And Kiki is really showing his level now at a 92 overall, a +2. He has to be a Ballon d'Or favorite. But he isn't the only one as Ethan Mbappe got 26 goals and 13, while Kylian had 25 and 2. He's competing with his own brother for the Ballon d'Or. This is gonna be interesting. But of course, it is a Euros year and this is France's group. As of course, Kylian Mbappe has been selected, but this time, so has his brother. I just hope that Kylian Mbappe has the better tournament. And when it comes to the group stages, France was absolutely perfect again. In the quarterfinals, they beat Denmark on pens. In the semis, they destroyed Spain. We'll be facing Sweden in the Euros final. And Mbappe has had a decent tournament with 3 goals, so close to the top goal scorer of the tourney. So can he go ahead and win his first Euros tournament and potentially win the Ballon d'Or at the end of it? And it's a 1-0 victory as Captain Thuram secures the Euros. But yes, Kylian Mbappe has done it. He wins his first Ballon d'Or. But remember, he needs to go ahead and tie Ronaldo and win 4 more. But to kick off season number 8, the Real Madrid manager Mikel Arteta has scheduled a meeting with me. He says congrats to Mbappe for winning the Ballon d'Or. And guess what? We want him to be a Galactico as soon as this season. What do you say? They respond, I'm sure Kylian Mbappe will be interested, but he had told me he has no interest in moving until after the World Cup at the end of next season. So we'll keep in touch. And as Mbappe has returned to Juventus a Ballon d'Or winner, it seems like bigger clubs than Juventus want his signature. As of right now, he is focused here at Juventus until the World Cup. And taking a look at his stats, he just continues to improve as an overall footballer. I actually want to go ahead and give him the wide playmaker role to increase more of his passing, since he is also a left winger. But before we can even sim to the end of the season, another big club welcomes me to their office. And it's Luis Enrique and PSG saying, I'm sure many clubs have spoken to you, Mr. Salinas, but we want Kylian Mbappe as soon as he is ready to leave. I did hear he is interested in leaving after the World Cup, and just know, we're ready to accept him and his brother in open arms. I then responded, thank you, I appreciate it. And Mbappe would appreciate the offer for his brother as well. But of course, we're a couple seasons away. Another season, another league title for Mbappe and Juventus, this time by a large margin. Once again winning the Super Cup, but failing to win the Coppa Italia again. Mbappe is allergic to the treble. But once again in the group stages, they did not impress, but remember last time, they won it. In the round of 16, they destroyed Porto 6-1. In the quarterfinals, they beat Tottenham 3-2. And in the semis, they beat Roma again on penalties this time, as they will face Liverpool in the final. And sadly, Mbappe cannot win his first UCL Golden Boot as Ethan Mbappe is leading the line again, while Asane Diao is the top goal scorer for Liverpool. And he has 41 goals in all competitions, while the likes of Benes, Saka, Gravenberch, and Moreiro, and Florian Wirtz are looking dangerous. And no Serie A Golden Boot for Kylian Mbappe, as he only scored 16 goals. He might not beat out Messi for 10 Golden Boots, I can't lie. Back-to-back UCL finals for Mbappe as Yildiz Costa and Sal Miretti are injured. But remember, last year they did it without a backline. Can they go ahead and do it again? And it's a 3-2 victory, as Ethan and Kylian Mbappe scores a double to win his second Champions League. And boys, once again, his brother has outscored him 31 goals and 14 assists, as Kylian gets 24 and 4. Still at a 92 overall, I don't think it's Mbappe's year to win the Ballon d'Or. But somehow he has done it again. He wins the Ballon Ballon d'Or. People can claim robbery, but Mbappe still did pretty decent this year. And it is now season number 9, and this Juventus side is still looking pretty solid. But remember, there's a World Cup at the end of the season. But another manager from a big club has approached me, and it's Vincent Kompany from Bayern Munich, and says, 2-time Ballon d'Or winner Mbappe, that's very impressive. And we would like to make him the greatest Bundesliga player of all time. If he wants to join our club after the World Cup, we are interested. I then respond to them, I'm gonna tell you what I told every other club that's interested. Mbappe wants to move after the World Cup. I will tell him all the options at the end, and maybe he'll choose you guys. But Mbappe's stock continues to grow, as we're gonna go ahead and give him another development plan. And now with all of his stats now full of 90, I'm just gonna go for the false 9 to continue improving his passing and try to get him as high as possible. Another club comes in for Mbappe, and it's FC Barcelona, the club Thierry Henry used to play for. And Pep Guardiola is the manager now, and he says, my whole career I've wanted to manage someone like Kylian Mbappe, and just know we're ready to purchase Mbappe and his brother if he'd like to become one of the greats like Thierry Henry and Lionel Messi. Once again, I respond, I really appreciate the offer. I'm sure Mbappe will too. But right now, he doesn't want to hear any paper talk till after the World Cup. And it is one more Serie A title for Mbappe at Juventus with 105 points, only one loss. But sadly, he misses out on the Super Cup and fails to also win the Coppa Italia. No treble here at Juventus. But finally, Mbappe has finished in the top 3 in the Champions League. In the round of 16, he beat Real Sociedad 5-4. In the quarterfinals, he beat Porto 5-2. And in the semis, they beat Leverkusen 5-2 as well, and are running it back against Liverpool, who they beat last time out. And unless Diaz scores 4 goals in this game, Mbappe wins another Golden Boot. I believe that's his 3rd one. And he also wins the Serie A Golden Boot, making it 4. Maybe Messi's record is possible. But can he do it 3 years in a row, just like Real Madrid? Nobody's injured this time out, and it's a 2-2 draw, but they win on pens. As Mbappe didn't even take a penalty, he probably got subbed off. And finally, Mbappe beats out his brother, 36 goals and 2 assists, now at a 93. Surely the favorite for the Ballon d'Or, but the World Cup is left to play. And this will be the World Cup group for France. And once again, France have gotten undefeated in the group stages. And in the round of 16, they beat Argentina. In the quarterfinals, they beat Portugal. And in the semis, they knocked out Spain on pens. As in the final, it's England versus France again. 4 years ago, this was the final. And guys, Ethan Mbappe is having a generational tournament. I don't think Kylian's gonna win the Ballon d'Or this year. But remember, Mbappe has to win this game if he wants to tie Pele's record. As everybody but the 2 Mbappes are tired, can he still go ahead and beat England once again? And it's a 1-0 victory as Matthias Theo secures Mbappe's 2nd World Cup. And there it is, it's confirmed. Ethan Mbappe has won this year's Ballon d'Or. To be honest, he deserved it, man. But so far, Mbappe has 2 World Cups, 3 UCLs, 2 Ballon d'Ors, and 4 Golden Boots. Still has a long way to completing his challenges. So of course, it's after season number 10. Kylian Mbappe is now transfer listed. He said he wanted to leave after the World Cup. So I bring Kylian into my office and say, you have gotten plenty of offers: Bayern, Madrid, PSG, Barcelona, and they are all also ready to sign your brother as well. Where do you want to go? Kylian says, I'm not sure. They all sound like great options, and I would love to continue playing with my brother. Let me go ahead and ask him. So Kylian and Ethan Mbappe have a conversation. Kylian says, all right, bro, we got offers from Bayern, PSG, Barcelona, and Real Madrid. Where would you like to go? Ethan says, actually, Kylian, it's been a pleasure to play with you, but I think it's time we have our own separate ways. I just won the Ballon d'Or. You have too. It'd be nice if we had a little bit of competition against each other. Kylian says, and Kylian Mbappe has made his decision and surprisingly has chosen to join FC Barcelona. I'm pretty sure this has a lot to do with his mentor, Titi Henry, as he is now at the Camp Nou. However, his brother Ethan Mbappe has accepted an offer from Los Galacticos of Real Madrid, as he is now wearing the white shirts. It seems like we're gonna have a rivalry in our hands. So Mbappe now joins the FC Barcelona side, and this is an incredible starting 11. But Titi Henry speaks to Mbappe and says, it means a lot that you joined FC Barcelona for the sole reason because I'm your mentor. It really does mean a lot. Kylian then responds, my dream was to always play for Real Madrid, but you know what? You told me sometimes things don't turn out the way they do. And in my own way to say thank you, I wanted to honor you by coming to FC Barcelona. But the question is, can he become the GOAT if he's competing with his brother? Well, in terms of development plan, I'm just gonna give him a poacher because they get some quickest to a 94 overall. And it's a pretty good first season for Mbappe here. 29 goals and 2 assists. Even went up to a 94 overall. And yes, boys, Mbappe wins his first Golden Boot here at Barca. That makes it 5. But I'm curious, where did Ethan Mbappe end up? Damn, it does seem like he picked up an injury with only 8 appearances. Because we know Ethan is a serious competitor. But it's Mbappe's first La Liga title, 94 points on the board, but he does fail to win the Copa de España and fails to win his first Copa del Rey. And when it comes to the Champions League, they did finish in second place, which is good. In the round of 16, they lost to Atalanta. That is not good, boys. And it looks like Liverpool finally won their Champions League. And there was no UCL Golden Boot for Mbappe this time around. And of course, neither Mbappe was going to win the Ballon d'Or as it was given to Liverpool's Asane Diao. And we are now in season number 11, and this team just continues to get better by growing. As Mbappe has 3 seasons left to the last World Cup of his career, he needs 2 more Champions League, 3 more Ballon d'Ors, 5 more Golden Boots, and of course, his last World Cup. So I'm hoping he can win another Champions League this year, as we're going to go ahead and just give him the wide playmaker role because it takes 286 weeks to get him to a 95. But if he doesn't win the UCL this year or the Euros, he might have to find another club. But it's another La Liga for Mbappe, 107 points and only 1 loss. And it's his first Super Copa de España win. He also wins the Copa del Rey, which means the treble is on. And Barcelona finished in first place in the group stages, undefeated. In the round of 16, they just beat Marseille on pens, his former club. In the quarterfinals, they just beat Bayern Leverkusen. And in the semis, they beat PSG 4-2. How unfortunate for them. But in the final, they're facing Napoli. Come on, this should be easy, man. But no Golden Boot for Mbappe as he just misses out by 2 goals. And he also doesn't win the La Liga one as it was won by Ale Garcia. This time around, Ethan had a better season with 12 goals, recovering from his injury. But can Mbappe win his 4th Champions League as he does have a couple injuries in his side? But is that going to stop FC Barcelona from winning another UCL? And it's a 4-1 victory. Yaman Ansu Fati getting a hat-trick. And it's another brilliant season from Mbappe, another 30 goals and 11 assists. At a 94 overall, he's a favorite for the Ballon d'Or. But let's see how he does in the Euros, as this will be France's group in the Euros, and Mbappe is now the captain of France. And this team just continues to look amazing. And for a 3rd time in a row, France has gone undefeated in the groups. In the quarterfinals, they beat England. Man, England must hate French. And in the semifinals, they beat Portugal, which means they are facing Spain. Mbappe versus Yamal in the Euros final. And Mbappe has had a decent tournament with 2 goals in 5 appearances, but his brother has outscored him by 1, so I'm not sure if Kylian will win the Ballon d'Or this year. But let's see if he can win his 2nd Euros of his career. Everybody's tired. Why is Mbappe the only fit one? But regardless, let's see what happens, and it's a 2-0 victory as Kylian scores in the final. And because he scored in the final, he gets his 3rd Ballon d'Or victory. All he needs is 2 more, 1 more UCL, that last World Cup, but he's still missing plenty of Golden Boots. And with 2 years left to go for the final World Cup, Mbappe's stats just look incredible. Still at a 94 overall, 27 at his absolute prime. I don't see why he can't win his last Champions League this year as we give him the target forward role. And it's an invincible season for Barcelona and Mbappe. They just keep getting better, man. And it's another Super Copa de España. And yes, finally, Mbappe is up for the treble if he can win the Champions League. But this time around, they did finish in 4th place with 19 points, where in the round of 16, they destroyed Atleti 5-0. In the quarters, they beat Roma 4-3. And in the semis, they beat Palace of all teams 5-0. And he'll be facing PSG, a team that wanted him a couple years ago. And if Mbappe can score 1 more goal in the UCL final, he would win his 6th Golden Boots. But regardless, he takes home his 6th with a La Liga Golden Boot to his name. But 1 more Champions League left to go. He still has 2 seasons left to do it. Lamine Yamal and Hector Ford are both out injured. Can Mbappe win his 5th and final Champions League? And yes, he does. But he doesn't get us going, doesn't get his 7th Golden Boots. And it's his best ever season. 42 goals, 8 assists, now at a 95 overall. He wins his 4th Ballon d'Or in his career. 1 more left to go, and it's going to be decided by the World Cup. And 46 goals and 5 assists in season number 13 went down to a 94 for some reason. But Mbappe is just at his best, man. And again, it's another invincible season with every game being won with 114 points. And it's another Super Copa de España and another Copa del Rey. They're really dominating here. But they just missed out on the UEFA Super Cup. By the way, I forgot to show the other ones. But in the group stages, they did finish in 1st place with every single win. In the round of 16, they destroyed Atleti again. In the quarters, they beat Man City 4-1. I, for one, never saw that coming. In the semifinals, they beat Tottenham 5-2, who they lost in the Super Cup. But in the final, they lost to Liverpool, which means Mbappe's in danger of not winning the Ballon d'Or. But he does win his 7th Golden Boot here in La Liga, but just fails to win it here in the Champions League. It's impossible for him to get 10 now. But for one final time, here's France World Cup group. As Mbappe leads the line one final time, can he win his final World Cup to tie? And it's another perfect group for France with 9 wins, and scoring 15 goals is insane. In the round of 16, they beat Denmark. In the quarters, they beat Morocco. And in the semifinals, they beat Argentina. And for the 3rd World Cup final in a row, it's France versus England. And Mbappe is fighting for his final Golden Boot and Ballon d'Or with Desiree Doué and Ethan Mbappe. Who's gonna win France this tournament if they do? But can Kylian Mbappe do it? Can he win his third World Cup as they have injuries and people are tired? Beating England 2 times, can they make it 3 out of 3? And it's a 3-2 win as Ethan Mbappe wins the Golden Boot, but Mbappe wins his final World Cup. But sadly, the final Ballon d'Or is given to Ethan. Let me know down below if Kylian became the GOAT. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to click on the screen and watch me make Lamine Yamal a Moroccan and the greatest African of all time.